software that ingest business data and present it in user-friendly views such as report, dashboard, charts, and graph. So in business intelligence, like we talking about the report. So what is the report having data? Check each and every what kind of prescriptions mentioned there. So all related checking already done out there. Then you submit these report to doctor. In that report, doctor read all the data regarding each aspect of what kind of purpose you have done that kind of check. So in that report, they get the result. But sometimes report is having much like lengthy, complex. So how you are going to get these results from these reports? So then you are going to visualize the data, the reports, the data present on the report, the results report in a different scenarios. These scenarios we can say it is a user-friendly views. Views means in some pictures, some charts, some dashboard kind of way, some graph. So easily, who is going to take decisions, who are controlling, monitoring the business, that person easily understand these kind of data. So BI focuses on retrieving and reporting historical data to gain insight into past performance and trend. How BI works, so we all know if we have the results of like last 1 year, now I can represent the data in different visual representations. So these visual representations define how BI work. So in that part, it involve data aggregations, organizations, and visualizations to support decision making and provide a comprehensive view of business operations. So how it is effective, because we still be not done with like we only getting the reports results. Now we are going to represent these results, these outcomes, these productivity in different scenarios in the view of visual representations like charts, like graph, like dashboards, like in other ways which one is suitable to understand that kind of process. BI typically involve data warehousing, data integrations, data modeling, and creating dashboards, reports, and scorecard. So where BI work? So BI is part of big data. We can say where you store large amount of data, then you integrate the data to get different to apply different kind of modeling, and then you get a result in part of dashboards, reports, and scorecard. It helping user explorations and understanding historical data, which one is happening during the last uh, what time we have decided. So in that part, we generate predefined reports and monitoring like what key performance indicator we have defined. Because before starting something, we need to define the KPIs of that project. So what are these KPIs? So according to these KPIs, we represent data, which data that is part of like your last business year, last trimester, second semester. So how you are getting your progress. So you can check previous, which means you can already have that related data. Then you done that work that is helping you to get insights what your organization perform last few years, last 1 years, last months. So that is part of your historical data. In second term, what is the business and analytics do? So business analytics is the application of statistical methods. Statistical method is it is part of like your statics. In that we are going to conduct many mathematical solutions. What mathematicals? There are some kind of way like mean, median, mode. So anything which one is part of your statics. So we use these kind of methods we also planning, like we what we have and what kind of process we can do to get predictive analysis, which one means we are going to check how our organization is going to perform in the next semester, next quarter. So, and advanced analytic techniques to interpret data, uncover patterns, and drive insights. So, we do that different modeling, any analytical techniques, which one is more helpful. So, to interpret the data according, we perform some kind of test on the data, then we get like what kind of pattern they following. So what are the insight about that business? It uses data to answer specific business questions, solve problems, and make data-driven decisions. Business analytics often incorporates descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analytic techniques. So it is always in detail. So always in the proper methods they follow. So it is descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prospective. So these different analytic techniques we perform to get business analytics. Analytics goes beyond reporting historical data. Like already said, in business intelligence, we work on the historical data. But in that BA, we dives deeper into the analysis of the data to understand why certain outcomes occurred and what might happen in the future. So what we like in simple ways, we just taking care of that data and we represent the data in different visual forms, but we don't do anything on their data. But in BA, we also process the result data, which one is received through the reports, what kind of pattern they are following, what are the problems out there. So we understand each and everything regarding the data, and according to what report we already have, so according that report, how our business is going to perform in the next year, so we can also predict that kind of process also. It involves using various analytical tools and methods to discover data trends, correlations, and relationships. So how we are going to relate them? So we just cracking, we use different method to relate in between these data to find out the trends. So all the relationships, if anything out there be possible, so we do that kind of practices also. What is the benefit of business intelligence? So it always helping improves the decision making, because you have data. On the data you process the data, you get results also always be part of reports. Now you presenting these reports, these result in different visual scenario. On that we can easily understand the deeper part of your process. So it is bring your presentations to life, pitch your idea convincingly, which means it is part of your improve the decision making process. In other way, it is benefiting to like make it easy to access and share information. So what kind of representations, visual representations out there after getting results, we are process that result into different visual. So that is part of business intelligence tool. So download the awesome diagrams, capture your audience attentions, because all the data are represented in the way of graphics. So in graphics, you use graph, tree, any other way. So which means it is giving proper diagrams, how the like, audience are capturing them, enable real-time analysis with quick navigations. Business intelligence bring your presentations to life. In that part you give your ideas, helping identifying waste in the systems. It reduces the risk of bottleneck, also helping you to know about your business. So with the help of, we get different like benefits, like we are giving better decision making, and we providing our data in a easiest way. If your business is performing something, so you can easily checks what my business is like doing right now. So it is helping you to know your business also, what are the risk out there, like which like tools, which kind of options it is still not working. So we are lacking in that point. So we easily try trace these kind of problem also with the help of BI. BI giving us like what kind of way we do. So it is keeps like organizations up. We can say it is part of up to date like work. It is helping improving customer support. So in some part, like if your customers are not getting resolution of their problems on time, then it is improving that also. Superior information exchange, it is will perform in that way. So the process, the productivity also getting, like we can say, in a good conditions. It is providing value added information tracking, improved informations consolidations. It is providing greater operational insight. It is reduced administrative cost, high performance, scalability, powerful analytics, integration with other technologies, like always consistent users because of friendly format, flexibility and ease of use, server serve various business functions. So what are the benefits? We easily say it is taking you up to date. It is also like if we know the bottleneck of the risk, so then we improve. If your customer CRM, it is not providing proper resolution on time, so you can easily trace it out what kind of department, what kind of function is not performing where it is many problem right now. So we easily trace out these problems and where it is going to happen, what kind of results we want. So each and everything we are going to complete with the BI. What are the channel BA? What are the challenges when we use business analytics? So there are many challenges. You all know business and analytics, business intelligence, both are the terms. Which one is part of your business? In business intelligence, we do uh, what we already have, like how many things you have. Now you just represent them as a visuals. That is only part of your BI. In business analytics, you get results. Now you also process something on that results. You are giving like not giving like visual representation, but you process what result have right now, what the predictions they make on these kind of uh, data they have in the results. So how these data are correlate, so they check each and every relationship. So that is part of the analytics. So analytics helping you to give patterns like how your companies is going to perform in next 6 months. What is what the area is going up, what the area is not performing well, where it is the problem. So is things. So in business intelligence challenges, they always often to like regarding poor data quality, lack of BI strategy, measuring the right indicators, delivering mobile BI, creating self-service analytics, too expensive and hard to justify return on the investment, analyzing data from different data sources. It is providing poor interactivity. Sometimes the database is sluggish, performance, lack of company-wide adoptions. So what are these problems? These not in actual problems. Like we are talking about the BI and BA, which means you need to form a team in your organizations. They work on that part, because if you are giving that part to all others, so they are not, they going hesitated. So how you are going to start these kind of processes to check out like in your business what kind of problem out there, what are the resources it is not supplying on time. So how you are going to in how much you have invested in, what kind of uh, way, and what the results when you are getting. What is the application area of business analytics? So in business analytics used in different like part of any organizations, like marketing and customer analytics, operation and supply chain analytics, in financial analytics. So in organizations, there are something that is part of admin. So how you are going to utilize the admin resources in a proper way. So businesses use analytics to analyze customer data, segments customer based on their behavior and preferences, and create targeting marketing campaign. It help understand customer preferences and optimize marketing strategies. Supply chain operations, inventory management, demand forecasting, production planning. It helping to identifying bottleneck, reduce cost, and improve efficiency and ensure timely delivery of product or services. We know we can't build a software that is fulfilling everyone's choice. Everyone's have the different scenario of work. So like here also we are talking about the operation and supply chain management. Like if we talking about we are going to do that much in that part, so for that we need to scale up our team also. We require more infrastructure out there. So everything is going up, but it is one time expenses, but this someone who is part of that courses, so they easily manage that part because their education work is already going on. So analytics optimize supply chain operations, inventory management, demand forecasting, and production planning. It helps identifying bottleneck, reduce cost, improve efficiencies, and ensure timely delivery of the product. In financial services, in financial institutions use analytics for risk assessment, fraud detections, credit scoring, portfolio management. It also helping in information regarding investment decisions, detecting anomalies with ensure regulatory compliances. So in financial, like if every organizations they have the finance department, somewhere only one member, somewhere two to three members. So what kind of department, in what department you are part of that, you just need to complete that document also with yourself. In human resource analytics, so regarding if you are talking about the HR sections, so how HR sections providing talent acquisitions, how they are going to plan to recruit, what is the workforce planning, what is the performance evaluations, how they are um, getting the results, how their employees are working. So each score, so and employee engagement. It helps identifying skills gap, improve recruitment processes, and optimize workforce management strategies. In different way in the sales and revenue analytics, if we are talking about, so analytics analyze sales data. So analytics also like part of like how you are going to process that data. So there are different business analytics out there. So it is identifying trend and measures sales performance. It help optimize sales strategies, identifying high value customers, and forecasting the revenue. In third part, we discuss about the business intelligence and reporting. Analytics tools and technique are used to generate business intelligence report, dashboards, and visualizations. It enables stakeholders to monitor key performance indicators, track progress towards their goals, and make data-driven decisions. Like if we apply with these analytical tools, these kind of techniques, they generate business intelligence report. They give the result in the form of diagrams, in graphs, in different way. So you not need to read each and every line, just looking at the graph on tree, anywhere. the data is presented. In risk management and fraud analytics, so analytics play a crucial role in identifying and mitigating risk such as credit card risk, market risk, and potential risk. It also aids in the fraud detection and preventions by analyzing patterns and anomalies in the transactional data. In healthcare it is also main part of your business analytics. So in the healthcare industry, analyticals used for patient data analysis, resource optimizations, clinical decision support, predictive modeling, it helping to improve patients' outcome, optimize resource allocations, and identifying health trend. So if we are talking about different way, like how the business analytics works, so it is not like just taking the local information. It always check and give real result regarding your data. In supply and logistic analytics, analytics is employed to optimize logistic operations, route planning, fleet management, and inventory optimizations. It will help reduce transportation cost, improve delivery efficiency, and ensure supply chain resilience. Regarding supply and logistic related, in social media and digital analysis, organizations leverage analytics to analyze social media data, website analytics, and digital marketing campaign. It is helping to understand customer sentiment, optimize digital marketing strategies, and improve online user experience. So how we are going to do this part, like if we not process the result, that report, and what the functional area are affected, some part of them are like performing well, so we just need to identifying like regarding healthcare, regarding supply chain and logistic, regarding social media platforms, regarding digital analytics. So these are the important part. What is the business analytics life cycle? Life cycle defining like how these processes are completed, what kind of process out there to complete that work. Like if you are putting some data and then these data are processed and give the result in the different visual representations. So that giving the different scenarios, like what pattern is giving, like if your market is up or not, so how we are getting these signals. So it is based on the business analytics which is done by the user. In business analytics, life cycle is a systematic process that organizations follow to leverage data and gain insight to drive informed decision making. The life cycle typically consists of several stages that are iteratively performed to extract actionable insights from data. So, what is the problem statement? So, first we know what is the problem we are facing in our organizations right now. Then we start working on that. So what kind of data required to complete that work? So for that we go to gather these kind of data. Then we divide how we are going to represent the data, what our representation out there. So regarding data explorations and preparations we do in that part. In third part, when we have the data, so we have different insights. So how we are going to check these insights? In up to these insights we are going with different like scenarios, like which option is best for this process. So we do decision making and implementation on that part. After all, we are checking the process, it is performing well or not. So what is the monitoring and evaluations part do? So we also do the same part. In business intelligence, there are another way of representing your like data. So the BI life cycle is look like that. First, we start to analyze business requirement. So like what are the business requirement to analyze? So for that, we arranging the data. Then we define a model. So we design a kind of framework which is we are going to follow. So what kind of models, tools, technique we are going to process on these data. Then we define a physical schema that having all the attributes, all the entities in that our project. According to that, we build a strong warehouse, which one is having the data, so that we also saying like it is building the warehouse. Now you have all the data. Now you are going giving that data a structures, a visual representation. So in that part, we create BI project structures. In the sixth part, we developing BI objects, and in last, all other like how much time you are part of this service. So it is like centralized service. So you just end up that meeting over there whenever your 7 point completed. So what the process is already aligned. How we are going to give in the previous we what kind of cycles out there. So we all know there is nothing like that, because in business intelligence they do work on the previous data, on historical data. So you having, because you already have the data, you already have the reports. Now you can visualize that report. But in business analytics, there we need to define first problem, then we make a solutions for them. According to that solution, we design a model. So how we are going to do process each data in that life cycle. There are different BI techniques out there where we are going to use. So business intelligence techniques encompass various approaches and methodologies used to analyze data and generate insights. There are most commonly used methods are out there, like we use reporting with the help of BI tool. Sometimes we get a dashboard. In that dashboard, like some websites directly give all the work related to your objects on the visuals. That is part of your dashboards. Data visualizations, we respectfully changing data one form to another form, that is visualizations. OLAP, online analytical process. So if we don't have these kind of processes at your home, we directly complete these processes on the with the help of internet also. Data mining, predictive analytics, text mining, data massive, geospatial analysis. So these are the methods we use in the BI techniques. In like data mining, there are vast amount of data. So how we are going to extract the data? If we thinking about what future of these kind of objects, like how our this thing is going to be completed. So how we analytics that predictive natures, geospatial where there is dimension is not like a fixed area. We just taking in different geographical locations and analyzing the data. So that is always done by the using different BI techniques. First, we're talking about the reporting. What is the reporting means? So reporting is a fundamental BI technique that create and distribute predefined reports. Reports present data in the structured format, often using tables, charts, and graphs to provide an overview of like key matrices, what kind of trend out there, what are the important things in that, what is the performance indicators they and defining their performance. So reporting allows stakeholders to assess and understand the state of the business quickly. In dashboards, how we are going to represent data. So what kind of important topics about our subjects, like right now we are going to discuss BI and BA, or in that part what kind of key topics are important, so I just highlighting them. So we can define what kind of key performance indicator out there, so we can use these in a real time or near to real time references. So they offer a considered and interactive view of critical matrices, enabling users to monitor performance, identifying trends, and drill down into specific details. Dashboards, like right now, this is if all my website is look like in that form, which one is the part of my present PPT. So that is, we can say, how I represent my data. So I have three types like reporting, dashboard, and data visualizations. I just giving the report in the form of like graph. So how these visuals are look, so that is part of your different way of techniques. So report always, there are data on that, there are sometimes tables in that, there are sometimes charts in that data, so there are sometimes there in graphs also. So each thing is part of your reporting. In dashboards usually represent data and key performance indicators in real time or near real time, you already done. In data visualizations focus on the representing data visually to enhance understanding and uncover. Like if you are not using any like text or images, you just use some kind of graphics out there. All details regarding your reports are represented in that visual form. So that is part of your visualizations. So to enhance understanding and uncover patterns or relationship. It involves using charts, graphs, maps, and other visual element to present data intuitively and compellingly. Effective data visualizations let users to grasp complex information quickly and make informed decisions. Sometimes the data is not understand easily. So how you are going to give, like there are examples, you just represented all reports in the graphics way, sometime in charts, sometime in like waves. So how you are going to display your data in different way. So these techniques are part of your visualizations. Then other one is online analytical processing. So how we are going to do that technique? So OLAP is a multi-dimensional data analysis technique that allows users to explore and analyze data from different dimension on perspective. So sometimes you are not saying like I just uh, do exercise on what situation out there. So which one is the best way, how we can make that process in easiest form. So how complex you make a structure and check each and every perspective. So OLAP also that kind of techniques. In that we just mentioning data in different like ways, like what is the sales, what in that sale of men's, what in the men, and what is the age of men, what are the like color tone of them. So each like each structures, each ways which may might be we think in our mind. So we do exercise on the data according to that basis. So it enable slicing and dicing of data, drill downs, rolls ups, and creating hierarchies to gain insight into relationships and trends. We always like giving some angles to understand the data. That means we like connecting these things to others. Like if that connect to that, that means our problem is getting resolved. So how can we make these kind of relationship trend? So OLAP provide a interactive and dynamic way to analyze data from the multiple angle. In data mining technique, data mining involves using algorithms and statistical technique to extract patterns, relationships, and insight from the large data set. It helps identifying hidden patterns, associations, or anomalies within data that may not be easily apparent. Data mining technique including clustering, classifications, regressions, associations, rule mining. There are different part which one we use to identifying our data, how the like mining we do on their data, because data is stored in a warehouse where no one know whose data is, which data is important, not know. So how we are going to check the data, classify the data, you understand the data to rule mining. In analytics utilize historical data and statistical models to predict future events or outcome. So sometimes we do that part also because we need to know how our business is going, what future of our business in coming years, coming days. So for that we do that kind of work. So for that we do utilize historical data. Then we follow some kind of statistical models to predict future events and outcome. It involve applying techniques such as regression analysis, time series analysis, machine learning algorithms to identifying pattern and trend that can be used to forecast future behavior. Predictive analytics help organizations anticipate customer behavior, demand patterns, and potential risk. In text mining analyzing is unstructured textual data such as customer feedback, social media posts, or survey responses. It involved techniques such as sentiment analysis, topic modeling, and text categorizations to extract insight and understand the sentiment of the theme. So sometimes like you just posting something wrong about some brand. So that brand identifying who is going to write up about our say our company or our product, then just check what is the sentiment that users. So sometimes they reply on that and they directly call to that person to resolve their issues. So text mining, like sometimes complex outcomes out there, like is customer just giving the feedback in wrong way. So according to these feedback, we just getting the emotions of that text and what is the category in category, like what are the extractions after insight and understand the sentiment or themes present in that text data. Text mining provide valuable insight into customer opinions, market trends, and brand perceptions. The other one is geospatial analysis. So geospatial analysis involve integrating location-based data. We already discussed about like how your geographical areas are mapped. So for that we use spatial database, and that is also required the spatial analysis. So it is utilize maps, geographical information system GIS, and spatial analysis technique to visualize and analyze data in a geographical context. Geospatial analysis is useful for understanding customer demographics, optimizing supply chain, or identifying market opportunities. So what is the difference between business intelligence and business analytics? So why the definitions, what happened and why it is happened. So what happened, which means the result already we have, and why all these things happen with our company or our business. So that is we having the descriptive analytics about that, that is part of your business intelligence. But in business analytics, what will happen in the near future, that is part of your predictive analysis. It is done by the business analytics. What is the use cases, use area? So in that part, business intelligence, we collect data of past or current data to track present performance and drive progress. So what our industry is working through, what is the progress right now? So we do work on the current and past data. In business analytics, we also using the historical data to generate predictions according to the pattern they follow. So why we do this part? For future strategic decision. What are the applications they use? They use performance management, visual insights, flexible reportings. In the business analytics, they use statistical analysis, data modeling, financial forecasting, that kind of way to understand in better way of business intelligence and analytics. Just keep this point or their differences because all the unit is part of this. I just come. Uh, in other perspective, like where business intelligence use, so it is primary purpose of business intelligence regarding it is supporting decision making. And what's the perspective? Like looking backward because we do like what kind of work? So we do work on the previous data. So it is part of forward, not forward, it is part of backward. And what we getting through all the data, so there is what happened, like what outcome already we have. So why that happened and what happened? That answer we get through the business intelligence. Who are use cases like who is users out there? So there is CEOs, CFOs, CIOs are the part of that process. The scope of this, so this is unlimited, and who is going to monitor? So in that part, we following some kind of method like monitoring, dashboards, KPI reports, but in data in analytics, it supports it is like convert and clean raw data. Approach is looking forward, and it is part of the predictive analysis, which means what will gonna happen in the future. So that is type of question solving with the help of data analytics. In that part, we use real-time data and mostly unstructured data. What kind of users? Because it having different models, techniques, so that follow by the like who is working on that data. So there are data analytics, data scientists, and IT professionals out there. What scope? So it is specific, like what kind of results you want in the near futures. In this approach, you do data mining, text mining, simulations, quantitative analysis. So business intelligence provide the fundamental structure, infrastructures, then tool for collecting, organizing, and presenting data in user-friendly manner. So after all, we both like both technologies, both tools helping us to provide infrastructures and tool for collecting, organizing, and presenting data in the user-friendly manner. It focuses on reporting and providing a snapshot of historical data to monitor performance and getting the identifying the trend out there. In the other hand, we talk about business analytics. So it build upon business intelligence. So business intelligence, what data you have, after that what you predict future on the based on this data. So because BI is always like built upon the business intelligence. So it is built upon business intelligence to by utilizing the data provided by the business intelligence systems and applying advanced analytical technique to gain insight. So what we are going to do on these BI data, we do some analytical technique to gain insights about what the outcome in the future, and we will optimize decision making in that part. So that are the major differences between BI and BA. What are the tools we use? So there are different tools, like you all aware about the Tableau, Data Pine, Sense, Yellowfin, BI, Power BI, Shape BI, and ClickView. We are familiar with Power BI, so that is a tool which one is used in the business intelligence. In business analytics, we use Python, we use Tableau, we use R programming, Apache Spark, RapidMiner. So there are different softwares that is also part of your data analysis tool of business analytics. So what we already done, we talking about the objective of business intelligence. What we have discussed the technique of business intelligence, each and every perspective regarding the business BI and BA. Now, if you asking any query regarding any topics we have discussed today, just typing your query in the chat, then we will resolve the query. Anyone, if not having any query, they have the choice to leave the meeting. Anyone ask your queries.